I'm also working on a book.
Your shoes on my back.
Absolute perfection.
I mean, you gotta change your way of thinking.
Daddy always told me to be ready for this day.
Mother teaches control. She protects. From what? This is gonna be a bitch.
Let me wipe your tears. When you're scared, I wanna be there to calm your fears. When you're in need, baby, ring my phone. I'll run right over and we'll make love all night long.
Yo, what it do?
What's up? What's up?
Long time no see, brethren.
I know, we're back.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Try to stream to your Facebook pages, fellas, if you can. I tried.
You're not the boss of me.
I'm gently suggesting.
Already, fellas, are we gonna start this already?
I already did.
Some things never change. But hopefully you all don't have the problem that I had. It gave me a little error.
I didn't have a problem, Sean. It's probably that
you have many problems, Glenn. And we need to talk
that Samsung, that BlackBerry you got. That might be the problem.
Really, technology dissing? Is that what we doing?
I know, I'm technology shaming. That's what I do.
Hey man, how y'all been? It's been a minute. Have we done this since the last episode of the WGN show?
No, we haven't.
No, we haven't.
Well, it feels good to be back in this space, you know, hanging out with you guys and with our clearly congenial guest, Randy Stress.
Dare I say that I'm
whose name says Mr. Controversy. So we know that he is the most congenial one among us. What's going on with y'all, man? Let me catch up with you before we jump in.
Man, let's just jump in.
See, just because you said that, I want to know what's going on with you. What you doing? You got
the boss. I'm jumping in.
You're not the boss of me, like you told me. You got sequels and stuff.
Come to me when it's time to jump in. I'm ready to jump in.
You Tyrant too and all that kind of stuff. Robert, what's going on with you, man?
Life is good, man. I can't complain. You know, my kids are good. My grandkids are good. Mm-hmm. I'm hanging out in Chicago now for a minute. So yeah, things are great.
Okay. Glenn?
Yeah, you know, and I know it's hard for y'all to come back on the show because you're thinking like, okay, Glenn is having like the most amazing year, and how do we compete?
I hadn't thought that, but
and you're right. You're all right. You can't compete with it, but y'all can do what y'all always do and be my backup. You can be the revolution to my Prince, the temptations to my David Ruffin. Yes, I said it, Mel.
How about we be the temptations to your oldest because ain't nobody thinking about you.
the new addition to my Ralph. At least Sean, you can be Johnny, Ronnie, Bobby, and Ricky over there. Y'all just
take that whack sign down from behind you. Randy
Odie
Strap,
is never
what's
whack.
going on with you, man?
Man, life is good. I became a grunkle during this past couple of months. My brother had his first grandchild, so I called it grunkle because it just sounds better than great uncle to me.
Yeah, I don't agree. I think you want to stick with great
I
uncle.
like grunkle. It works. It works for me.
Uncle just implies some other stuff.
Well, to you, because it sounds like somebody that's mean and surly. Hey, Vanya.
Or drunk.
I'm working on that.
Or drunk.
It sounds like a retired tight end.
Here comes Grunkle Randy.
Robert Grunkle that used to play for the Patriots. Okay, Mel.
2 minutes in.
You have the floor since you wouldn't let me bring you in.
Yeah, since
So
you
I
guys
think
are forcing me to do this,
yeah,
because I'm just ready to be honorary. I wasn't trying to do an update. I'm ready to be honorary.
I may not be the boss of you, but we got bosses regardless. So
Right.
the boss.
Yeah, a couple of things. So the book me and Mo put out earlier this year, fantastic. Love Beyond 40, going really, really well. Really, really well. Go to lovebeyond40.com. Number one. Number two, put out a film in April called Tyrant. We have 18 million impressions on Tubi, so people are streaming it over and over again. It did so well. We filmed part 2. The premiere of that is the 16th of November, but both shows are already sold out. We've also been funded to do a 6-part series that'll be released next year. Finished another film called A Boy Named Bobby, which I really, really can't wait for them to finish that. That's in post-production right now. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, I did my first rom-com. I've never done a rom-com before, and I did my first rom-com. And instead of me talking about it, why don't I just show y'all this?
Yo, what's up, D?
I synced it.
You synced it.
I synced it. I-S-E-E-N-T. I synced it. Damn.
Breathe, bro. I just need you to go home, chill out, and she'll explain everything.
It's called Love on Air.
Wow.
That's sweet, man.
Yeah, it's a super dope film. Super dope film. Streaming now on Indie TV. So
I don't know that I'm ready to see you being funny. That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
So,
it's a thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, Sean, I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to Robert and to Keisha, our super producer, for helping launch 220 Wine and Spirits. We're in the distribution business now. We're the Connect, as I like to call us. That's what we do. Sorry.
Like Tommy.
Robert is Lobos. So that happened. In a week, we have a documentary coming in. Robert's actually starring in too. This is like all about Robert. He doesn't even need to talk. But him, along with Cinda Williams, Samantha Danielle, Martha Washington, Latrice Rice, Tommy Talley, are all in the Faith, Failure, Success documentary. So we actually took the best-selling books and made a documentary out of it. And it's just very inspirational. Everybody in there did an amazing job, and it debuts on Indie on the 15th. So that's a week from tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. My directorial debut. I don't know if I knew what I was doing, but I had some good people to work with. And, you know, Keisha slapped me around whenever I needed because that's her job now, among other things, you know.
Yeah, I mean, she gets to slap you around on 2 different levels. But Randy, real quick, what's going on with you, man?
He told us he's a grunkle.
Yeah, he sure did. He sure did. I guess that was my way of not saying what's going on with me.
Yeah, Sean, what's going on with you?
Not a damn thing. I mean, same old thing. Just working and, you know, trying to come up with new projects to do and get you guys involved in and get your help with, and you know, that whole nine. So, hey man, no way we cannot kick this off by talking about Tuesday. And so much has been said. I don't claim to know what anybody's position was in terms of, you know, everybody that's on the panel here. So my question is, how do you move forward from this? What does this mean for you in terms of moving forward? If Tuesday wasn't what you hoped for, how do you move forward from this? And Glenn, I think I always think that you have the highest political acumen. So
Thanks.
I'll start with you. Mhm.
Yeah, this time I
I
was.
don't know
hoping
that to be true.
you
I'm
wouldn't
just
come to me
saying
first.
what I
I was hoping you wouldn't come to me first.
Mm.
First, I'd like to say, especially to the women out there, because I've seen a lot of posts and it's been a lot. You showed up at the polls and you were voting for family. You were voting for your daughters, your sons. You were voting for your future. Don't let anybody tell you to not sit in this and feel how you need to be feeling. I think people really need to come off the whole it's going to be all right shaming people. You know, it's okay to be mad. Mad is an emotion. We are humans and we're filled with emotion. And if you're upset about it, be upset about it. But remember it, know how it made you feel, and then do something about it when you're ready. So, you know, my opinion of it is, and I actually sent you guys a quick clip about some facts about voting and the turnout. I think it was 12 million fewer people voted this year than they did 4 years ago in the presidential election. Detroit, the city of Detroit, turnout was only 47% of registered voters. Philadelphia, 10%, which I think equates to a couple of 100,000 people. Milwaukee, same thing. I think 2 years ago, only 50,000 fewer people voted, and it's probably going to look like that now, even though the rest of the state of Wisconsin had record number turnout. But that's about 100.
Before we hear from everybody else, let me ask you this. Do you think that is at all indicative of a hopelessness that people felt because they may have felt like this is a setup? There's no way that the powers that be are gonna not sabotage this for this side. Do you think that there was some cynicism in that maybe kept people away from the polls, you know, feeling like they're fighting a machine that's bigger than their contribution?
There might have been, but I think people really have short memories to not remember what 2020 was like. So, you know, if you're going to sabotage yourself for fear of being sabotaged at the polls, that's just counterintuitive. You know, I'm gonna sit out and get the worst possible outcome by not voting. And
Well, self-sabotage is a real thing, though. You know, when you feel like there's nothing that you can really do.
But also, and what makes it difficult is everybody now gets to choose their news and how they consume information like a menu. So I can go here and consume all the stuff I want to hear, whether it's positive or negative, and I don't need to go anywhere else to do it. And it used to be that you had news sources and you had differing opinions. Now you can just get it from one place. And if you're getting it from one place, there's nobody there to tell you here are some facts based on that. You ask people
in view,
if you look at the polls, they said the economy was terrible, but unemployment is at its lowest in decades. Gross domestic product is going up. People are mad because prices are going up, but that had nothing to do with who's in office. It had everything to do with us coming off a pandemic and business raising their prices to try to make up for the losses that they had before. So it's misplaced blame, and then you've got one side telling you how terrible it is. And that's all you're hearing. Now, don't get me wrong, Democrats are terrible at messaging their good stuff, the good things they're doing, because there's a lot of good that happened in the last 4 years. Coming out of a pandemic, pulling away from a recession. There was tons of really good stuff that they didn't share the good news of with people to get them out to vote. But also, if I'm going to be real, this is a very sexist country.
Oh, absolutely.
When it comes to voting for a woman at the highest office. Let's just be real about that too. And there were some of us that look like us and some that don't. They decided they didn't think a woman could lead. And I was reading some stuff. It was pure garbage, but I read some stuff like, oh, see, too emotional. She can't
I heard some of the dumbest.
Yeah.
You know, I even had a guy cite the fact that what is she going to do when she's on her period?
Oh my God.
I'm like, dude, how dumb are you?
Yeah. And I've tried to disconnect from the stupidity, and I really did just kind of tune it out on Wednesday because I just following it so much for the last. Well, you know, I love politics, but it was up to a point where it was like it was enough for me too, and I just had to tune it out.
Before I hear from Randy, I want to also note that voters are also lazy. And so it's very easy for them to buy into something that they're given and not do the research to find out whether or not it's true or not. Um, I've been guilty of being lazy. I thought some of the things that she had done were true until I took the time to do my own research and find out that her record on so much was being misrepresented. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that factors in that people don't want to do the dirty work to find out whether or not what they're being sold is a bill of goods or really something true. Randy, where are you at with it, man?
First thing I'd like to say is Black women showed out, but I hear a lot of rhetoric about Black men not showing out, and 78% of us
Yeah,
actually
it's not true.
showed out for it. And I'm hoping that seeing that will cut some of this we hate you back and forth thing that we're doing. I'm hoping that it'll finally settle down and we'll get back to a happy place where we can coexist and, you know, interact with each other.
Yeah.
Back to the voters, I had several Black men, one who's a good friend I had to cuss out because he said,
I had to, huh?
I had to, because his out of his mouth, he said, she can't put together a complete sentence. And I'm like, are you listening to Trump when he starts talking? Like, are you really paying attention to what this fool is saying?
I bet you have more education than you got. So what do you?
You know, some of my friends, you know, it took them 6 years 2 extra years to get through school. So I'm just saying, not everybody is smart. So it just kind of pissed me off when I heard that from a few people, especially how one thing I really wish we would do as Democrats, get rid of these old people, because I have to tip my hat to Republicans. They knew how to stay on message. They knew how to keep it in your face. They knew how to make her look bad. And these old, tired, worn out Democrats never once jumped on any opportunity they had to bring him down. And I can't be mad at them for that, at Republicans for that. They did what they're supposed to do.
They play to win. They play to win. We play to stay
right. We want to be. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And I'm like, you can't win that way. You just can't.
Yeah.
Politics is a dirty game.
It's stupid.
Mel, jump in here. What are your thoughts, man?
Okay, few things. Glenn, it probably was closer to 20 million that didn't vote.
Yeah.
She got about 15 million less votes than Joe Biden did. Trump got 3 million less than he did the last time. So those numbers combined come to about 18 million. That's number one. Number two, I think there was definitely a level of sexism, misogyny, and racism at place. Not only from the standpoint of voter turnout and who did vote and why they did vote, but from the standpoint that we live in a very patriarchal world, not just our society. So while we might have this more of a utopian view of what's possible here in America, I think some people were looking at how would other world leaders view a woman in power, not just a woman in power, but a Black woman in power. Even though there are prime ministers and other female leaders in governmental structures around the globe, it's not the leader of the free world, which is looked at a little bit differently. So definitely something to contend with. The other thing that I think too is that this was a race of white preservation, right? You know, with the possibility, there's a clip that's going around with a white nationalist and an Asian kid sitting down, and he's like, you know, we won't be the majority, and there's this feeling of that. Instead of looking at humankind, people are looking at their own individual kind. And how does that work? I even had a post on my Facebook page about how I would say that I was shocked to see the level of racism that took place during this election season. However, I have to remember that my own mother could not ride the front of the bus when she was younger. We're not that far removed.
Not that far. Yeah.
We're just not that far removed. And to some of my white friends, it was difficult to explain what they never have to contend with or go through. None of them ever have to educate their children on how to conduct themselves during a traffic stop. right? I have a uncle, a deceased uncle now, who's a 2-time Purple Heart recipient, Vietnam, from the Vietnam War, who my brother and my cousin were driving his car, went to the #1 high school in the city, Whitney Young, both athletes, and 2 white officers pulled them over on the side of Lakeshore Drive and had them face down in the gravel. Right. My white friends never have to experience that. Right. They never, the level of racism that was seen. And the biggest thing to me, in all of this is how Trump or the GOP never denounces it. There's never a denouncing of the Proud Boys. There's never a denouncing of the Nazis that are in Florida on boats with the swastika along with the Trump 2024 flag. They never say this is wrong. They never say we don't support this. Right. At some point in time, if somebody's out there saying that, I rock with Mel Roberson, this, that, and the third, and they're conducting themselves in a way that doesn't identify with my brand, it's up to me to have my PR team come up with something that says, hey,
the views and opinions expressed.
Yeah. But there's none of that. There's never a thing of January 6th was a mistake. And then to post-election actually mimic what you think Kamala's acceptance speech would be. Have some dignity and grace in your win. There's a difference between, like, golly, you're a sore loser and a sore winner. Come on, bro. Like, at some point in time, just do the job.
And then there are people rocking with you despite that. Like, they see this inhumane behavior.
Well, don't mimic fellatio on the microphone as the leader of a free world. Right. Just don't do that. You know what I mean? So this is the only time, and I'm usually never this political. I don't speak out politically. I don't talk about religion or politics with people. When the Bushes ran, when John McCain ran, even when Mitt Romney ran, I never felt like if they win, we're in trouble. I never felt like, well, if the Bushes win, life is just going to be. I don't have that. I don't have that same, because the level of bravado that racists have now is unlike anything that we've seen since the Jim Crow or slavery era.
They remained emboldened even when he wasn't in office. So,
bro,
now they're even more so.
Did you see the guy that was pouring gasoline on a black woman's house in Texas?
Yeah, I did.
Did you see the text messages that came from white fraternities at the University of Alabama telling black people to show up to work for the cotton fields the next day?
No. I saw this one guy getting ready to attack what looked like it may have been a gay black man or a transgender black man on the street. Yeah, I saw something like that today.
It's just crazy. And so I'm telling my friends, I was like, look, this you're not going to get it until I'm injured or dead, because it'll affect you because I'm your friend. But blanket immunity for police officers, I know police officers that are like, yeah, blanket immunity ain't a good idea.
In a culture that we're already subject to disproportionate murder when we're unarmed, and now you're going to say, hey, you don't even have to worry about getting in trouble for doing this.
Yeah, but it's hard for people to understand what they don't have to undergo.
I was going to say the bad part about that is they don't realize, and stupid police want to go along with it, but they don't realize they're putting their own life in danger, because people get to a point where they're like, I'm going to shoot you before you shoot me. And that's one of the other, the bad side of it. They don't realize they're putting their own lives in danger going with this stupid, give them immunity. It's just dumb all around.
Robert, I know you haven't had a chance to say anything, man. Anything on your mind that you'd like to say before we transition, man, to some other things?
Some happy stuff.
I think that a couple things. Mel kind of highlighted some of the things that I was thinking, but and so did Randy. I think that we have to change the narrative. There is social media does a decent job of keeping negative stuff out in front of us, right? And we have to figure out ways to to get outside of that and really tell the story. I think Lynn talked about, how many people did not vote as well as how many people voted. In some of the conversations that I had at the bars, a lot of the women in particular thought that we didn't show up or we weren't showing up, which is, we've already discussed is not true. But I think that there's a level of support that we have to give each other. And how do we wrap around, our arms around each other, as a people and say that we feel you. We want to make something different. We want to make change happen. But I think it's going to take a collective effort by everyone. And it is unfortunate that, we saw, what's happening in the news now about some of the racial unrest that is happening at the HBCUs already. Man, I hang my head down because I don't know how we fix it. But as a community, I think we have an opportunity to fix it, and it's not us against,
Yeah. But we've got to start playing chess with them. We got to start playing checkers. We, if you look at what happened in Florida, the first thing they did was take over school boards.
Yeah. Yeah.
You take over the school boards, you ban the books, and you direct the curriculum. That's at the very grassroots level of it.
Yeah.
So listen, let's try to slowly transition out of this because we can certainly be here all night. So I want to ask you as we transition out of this, what do you think race relations look like going forward from here? How are you thinking that you're going to navigate it differently? Is it going to be different for you? Are you anticipating different things based on some of the stuff we've already seen that's happening out here? What does it look like for you going forward?
So I think it's a thing of lies and truth go at the speed of information, right? So we understand, just like the misconception about what the black men did at the polls and how many came
and
out.
not to cut you off, but what I've also learned is, and I'm going to say this without apology, is that I've seen a lot of that misinformation coming from sisters that already are very vocal about having issues with black men anyway. So I know that you aren't researching it, and some of you that are so vocal about it, I'm not even sure you vote. So some people are just taking an opportunity to try to take shots at black men without even researching it. So
well, it's all by design, first and foremost. It's all by design.
Yeah.
And so when I say lies and truth grow and go at the speed of information, all it takes is for somebody to see something on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, identify with it, and send the message out. It gets shared 32. Oh my God, I can't believe this. And you share it, and then your network shares it. And then before it even happens, or before it even it's too late to reel it back in.
Yeah.
Right. You can't get in front of the lie. And so we have to be just as intentional in spreading truth and spreading love as they are intentional in spreading lies, and pray that enough of us care enough to have, number one, have the conversations, but number two, put enough of the positive stuff out there, and the people that have major platforms that can get the word out better, faster, stronger, that they identify with the message and get it out as well. At the end of the day, we got to be resilient, and it's either we give up, lay down, and pretend that nothing is happening around us and our world collapses around us, or we do what it takes to build a better one.
Glenn, what do you think we do? What are you doing?
I think we regroup. Not voting is consent. 12 million people consented to what's going to happen for the next 4 years and for the next 20 when you talk about the courts. And I know I hang on the courts a lot, but no president in history has named more than 4 Supreme Court justices. And this president-elect may name 5 or 6. That's a tremendous amount of
control,
leverage.
No political office should have life terms. No political office should have life terms.
But that's the rest of our lives, basically. The next 25 to 30 years, they're going to control the courts. He named 200 judges federally in the first term. He has a Republican majority in Senate. The Senate approves judges, so that's another 200 or so ideologues that are going to be on the court. Some with no real experience in judiciary. One of the great things that the current administration did was they hired prosecutors and DAs and public defenders to those judgeships, people that have worked on both sides of the fence and really understand the law and how the system works for us and against us. That's not going to happen, guys. So you screwed that up. So congratulations to those people setting out to prove a point. The only point you proved was you consent to what's going to happen to you in the next 20 years. The people like us aren't going to be as affected by it because we have good jobs. We work, we're professional. We're not going to feel the brunt of it. The people, the least of us, are going to feel it. So you start voting. You have 23 months and 29 days until the next midterm election. You can literally change Congress in that next election if you get enough people out to vote. You stop giving up. You show up for every election, from school board to dog catcher to whatever. You let your voice be heard. You use your power. It doesn't matter. You vote. You vote. Every time the polls open, you vote, because that is the one way you change it. Don't listen to anybody that tells you to sit down, because when we sit down, we basically are laying down.
Randy, what are you going to do going forward, man?
I'm gonna work on trust, because knowing how many white women and white men that were supposed to be allies turned on us, it's gonna take me a minute to get back to the point where I can trust. On the flip side of that, knowing how things trickle down, and it takes a while for us, I can't wait until these fools go ahead and cut welfare, Social Security, and start shipping people out of this country, because those people who voted against us and voted for that is going to hurt them more, because 83% of the people on welfare are white. So them poor white folks who were all Trump, I can't wait till their grandma and grandpa sitting there struggling, trying to figure out how they're going to make ends meet, because they cut Social Security, they cut welfare, they cut Medicaid, because it's going to hurt them a whole lot more than us.
Well, not to hold on to the political conversation, but that's why he adores the uneducated white voter. You know what I'm saying? He knows that they don't know any better. He knows that they don't have the ability to research things, and so they're voting with their hate. They vote their hate, what benefits them, and they don't always realize that they're
going to find out the same way with those Hispanics who voted against us. When they start seeing their family members getting snatched out the country, while they sitting there crying, "Black people help us," I'm gonna be sitting with my hands crossed, like, "Nah, you wasn't there to help us. You on your own, Pablo."
So listen, man, let's transition away from this a bit if we can. Randy mentioned trust, and I thought it was interesting because I had a question about trust slated for you gentlemen. I was watching a clip earlier this week, and what the clip said was that we believe that you strengthen trust by offering help to people, when in actuality, you strengthen and develop trust by asking for help. What do you think about that, Robert? You come on back with me,
man. You and these questions, man.
Well, I'm gonna give it to you again, since you know you had your head.
It's not about giving it to me again. I heard you the first time, but I think the challenge. I have a different view of trust. So
come on with it.
I think that, I used to believe that trust is something that we give without someone earning it. Today I believe, because I'm more mature in life, I think that trust has to be earned. And that goes by, the actions that you do around me and others. It's almost like we talked about when people send out a social media post without looking to
make sure
verify it,
yeah.
right? Make sure it's true. So it's you have to earn the trust with me, and I think that a number of us should we should view it that way. We should look at it as what can we do to earn the trust and respect, of people again.
So how does someone earn your trust?
I got a question though, Robert. How did you learn to trust the ark that Noah built that you were on back then.
I knew that you were going to come back with something from me, brother.
I'm trying to figure out because Noah had never built an ark before, bro. And I mean, you were right there with him, like y'all were next door neighbors.
Yeah, I was going to do some spiritual stuff.
No, I'm
Then
just now catching. I'm just now catching the real meaning.
If I say something about, the Bible says you will know their fruits.
No, he didn't quote. No, he didn't do it. If you read your Bible, no, he didn't.
So I knew.
Especially if Robert handpicked the fruit himself.
I knew that Mel was going to come back. That's why I pivoted and went a different direction. But
Robert was an intern when they were writing that verse.
Know by the fruit that Robert picked.
No, Robert was an intern when they were writing those. No, I think like when Moses went up to the mountain to get the 10 Commandments and came down, Robert was there when he handed them to Robert to like safekeeping. He was an intern. He was young then, back then.
Robert handed.
Robert was
described and Moses dictated it to him.
Yeah.
No. Robert and Moses were at school. And the crowd, there was a crowd,
ladies and gentlemen,
lunchroom, and Moses had a pencil, see how they try to do me out, and the line did this, and it parted. And Robert's like, man, you could use that later. You should remember that skill.
Robert picked the apple that
I'm just gonna go on record and say you guys called me Mr. Controversy. I mean, I'm just saying I was innocent.
I mean,
well, this ain't controversial. He's just old. It's just
he recognized skill. He recognized skill early. That's all.
I mean, come on. Abraham Lincoln jacked his beard style. Come on now.
Dang.
That was pretty good. Mel started that one, Robert. It wasn't even me.
He did.
I already knew. That's why I was ready to pivot. I was going a different direction. In my head, I said, no, I'm going to do this one. But, no.
I'm going to do a mail and get us back on track. Right. I think I was talking, Mel,
you can't even get us back on track.
I was trying to lighten the mood, man.
What the heck was going on with that, man?
So tell me, boy, actually what I was asking Robert was, you said trust is earned, and I was asking you, how does someone earn your trust?
All right.
Robert sat for that painting.
And our producer Roger Jackson is on the money. He hasn't gotten rusty at all.
Right. At all. So how does someone earn your trust, Robert? Since you say it has to be earned, how does someone do that? Because I can't really imagine someone earning my trust. I imagine that I decide that I am going to take the risk and give it to them, and I have to live.
How's that been working for you?
Well, I'm asking about the alternative. Hell, it's never really worked. But what I'm asking you is
because it hasn't worked, we have to go a different route.
But you haven't given me an answer. How do you earn it?
But it is for me, I set up boundaries, and I live within those boundaries. And when people don't operate within my boundaries, I am not giving them more leverage to hang me.
And do you challenge yourself in terms of the boundaries? Do you make sure they're realistic and fair and they're not counterintuitive? Well,
I think that is something that we all have to do. But I think as I grow and have grown, yes, I put myself. Is what I believe true, and is it something that I can live up to and others can live up to? Is the standard, because we're all striving for excellence. We should be. And so if we're striving for excellence, that means that person should be growing in what they're striving to do as well. So it's a mating, of the two. Does that make sense? I just want to make sure.
It does. And I just want to say, in the 4 years or so that we've done this show, I don't know that I've seen you more passionate about something than when you just explained that. I felt like you were ready to haul off and slap somebody about how you felt about it. So
he's been pretty passionate about like dating and spending money, like the $300 dates and stuff. He's pretty passionate about those too.
Yeah, but I felt like he would have hurt somebody about this opinion. Anyway, Randy, Mr. Controversy.
Yes, sir.
What do you think about that? About the whole trust thing? You develop trust by asking for help, not by offering help.
For me, I trust my discernment. And honestly, if I don't feel it, I'm not doing it. I don't shy away from red flags. I don't give the benefit of the doubt. If I don't feel it, I don't feel it. And if I don't feel like I can trust you, I walk away. Period. There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
From a mechanic standpoint, I 100% understand the philosophy, because what they're saying is, I think enough of you to offer you a vulnerable space. And that should tell you that I trust you, because I'm basically giving you something that you could hurt me with or not hurt me with. So I 100% understand the mechanics in that example. But like you, I am not quick to trust. I don't know that I have the same boundaries as Robert. I've never consciously thought of someone earning my trust. I've just been conscious about whether or not I'm comfortable giving them my trust or not. Because I don't want anybody doing something for me intentionally, because it's likely not sincere. Right. So I would rather watch you quietly and decide whether or not I think you're someone that I can trust. And then the more that I see you are, then the more of those frail spaces and those vulnerable spaces you'll get, because I trust, one, that you won't share them with others, but also you won't weaponize them at a later time. Because that's, for men, that's the biggest fear, is that I give you something and later you use it to hurt me.
Against me. Yep.
Yeah.
So, I got to challenge you.
Me?
Yeah, I think that, what you're saying, it's all warm and fuzzy and all of that sort of stuff. But you said that you give them, how much time are you giving them?
It's not time restricted. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's I know when time is up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
But do they know?
They don't have to know, because it's about me.
So you know that you're only giving someone 60 days to do something.
Never conscious like that. It's just a matter of what I'm feeling and what I'm feeling from you and what the energy is saying and what moving forward with you looks like.
And see, because you said something, you said feeling, because we're operating from feelings, and our feelings, couldn't they be wrong? Couldn't they be off?
Absolutely, but you can't quantify a time window to trust somebody either, because your time window might be too short. So
very rarely your discernment is off. If you're if you're getting a funny feeling about something, there's something to feel funny about. I truly believe
I agree with that.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with someone earlier today, and I'm pretty sure that they don't watch the show. I hope they don't. But we were trying to date back some time ago, and I really wasn't getting the energy that would have told me you're romantically interested in me. And so, Robert, in that sense, I gave it X amount of time in case it's me, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay,
I get that.
Maybe they move slower than I do. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? And so once we got to a space and time where I'm like, okay, I've given them ample time. So that cannot be the deal. Either we speak very different love languages, or you think I'm a great guy, but you're not really romantically attracted to me. Whatever the case, I was confident that I had given enough time in that space, and I moved on. Now,
but all right, I'm gonna challenge you too now. See,
all right, thank you, Jesus. Somebody else. Come on.
I'm gonna challenge you too, because
this is the Challenge Sean show. I'm not scared of y'all. Come on,
bring it on. Could it be that you had some insecurities about people like and how they like you and how to approach you? Because you can't, everybody doesn't do this. Everybody doesn't walk that straight line when it comes to relationships, emotions, and everything else. It's this way, it's that way. It's something you may do to trigger how they feel about you in a good way, not in a bad way. I'm just saying in a good way. I'm looking at this in a positive light. And that sometimes you have to give it more time. It's not about the clock that you're on. It's about the trust that you're building through that. It's a process. There's levels to it, as people have said in the comments. So could it be that you weren't trusting yourself enough?
Go on somewhere, Nicole.
Nicole Williams agrees with me.
I understand exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But keep in mind these things. One, I never make a move like that without consultation. So I'm always comfortable going to people and saying, hey, this is what this looks like. Tell me if this is me.
Do you go to the person that you're talking to or talking about it? Or
no, I go to the people that I trust, like we were talking about. And so I understand where you're coming from, but I think that there are some things that are just cut and dry. And so this person, I didn't think I was a great guy, right? But I also think that there is a rhythm and an intention when you're trying to develop something with someone that says to them, I have you in this particular space, and I'm trying to move forward with you in this space. And it sounds silly, but and ironically, today is his birthday. My childhood best friend, his name is Marcus Vanderbilt. I called him on my way home from work today because today is his birthday, and I didn't catch him. But we were in about 8th grade, and Marcus said, in 8th grade vernacular, he said, "Hey man, if a girl like you, you should know." He said, "You ask yourself if she like you. And if it's obvious she like you, then you know the answer is yes. If you ask yourself if she like you and it's obvious the answer is no, then you know the answer is no." He said, but what most people mess up is if the answer is I don't know, that means no. And I right or wrong, I've lived that mindset.
That's about as accurate.
So you living your life out of some 8th grade shit?
Absolutely.
See,
I was waiting.
the most logic I've ever heard in my entire life.
Brandon, it doesn't have to be wrong because it's 8th grade. It's 8th grade, but it was right.
You might as well send our notes saying, "Do you like me? Yes or no?"
Right? Yes or no? Check
That's
the box.
equivalent of that.
I disagree.
I disagree.
And y'all crucified me when I talked about an 8th grade experience.
Hey. Writing notes gets a lot of good answers. Don't underestimate that.
Hey, and I still disagree with y'all. Just because it was 8th grade don't mean it ain't right.
It was gold to me. I thought it was some good stuff.
Very accurate.
But I can go to most people, with the exception of Mel, Rob, and the producers, and everybody mostly thinks you're a good guy. You know, so that's like 96 out of 100. 96% is pretty good. Me, I'm on the fence. I don't know. But most people are going to say you're a good guy. Joking. But most people are going to say you're a good guy. So that's not the problem.
That was really funny.
But it was true.
So I don't know that that's the problem. I think it's more of how are you presenting yourself.
I was giving y'all an example.
I'm not saying you have a problem. But self-doubt will creep in sometimes, you know.
A lot of times. But yeah.
Right, yeah. I just don't think that this was that was what this is. This was somebody that had been given enough time to show themselves interested, and they did not, and it became an unwise use of my time. I still think stuff you learn in 8th grade can still be correct.
Yeah, I remember
math
subject.
Math, yes.
Multiplication.
Outside of that,
man, y'all dogged me out when I talked about the girl.
What's the next topic? Do we have another topic?
Yeah, we have another topic. Mel is rushing us through.
I know. I got broke up with in 8th grade too.
Yeah.
I didn't forget it either for a long time. You know what you did. You know what you did.
I'm like, look at me now.
Exactly. Look at me now. Like that Chris Brown song. Okay. That's right.
Right.
Not that look at him.
So since y'all have been trying to drag me.
No, just been telling
we were just welcoming you back. We missed you.
I'm gonna play a little.
Oh Lord. Well, Roger, you hit all the buttons tonight. We see you still got everything in your
Man,
library.
you're on a roll tonight.
Oh, I was adorable. Thank you very much. And I grew up good too.
I'm gonna play a little clip and y'all tell me what.
That's
you
why I'm
think.
not sending my baby pictures in.
Well, first of all, they didn't have cameras.
Your baby pictures are on a cave written in hieroglyphics.
I'm gonna let y'all have that one. Okay.
Oh,
I'm gonna let y'all have that one. I'm gonna figure out how to get you back, man. I'm coming for you.
Okay, wait a minute. That was that's
baby
one for the highlight
this
reel.
baby was taking one of those cameras with the big fan on the back of it, and they had to put the hood over.
Well, I don't do this often.
Wait a minute, you take
Well
one
done,
picture and
sir.
a whole bunch
Well
of smoke
done.
after you take the picture.
That's all right. I'm coming back for you all. I just want y'all to know.
Robert's ancient name is Osiris.
Hey, listen to this clip if it plays, y'all. Check it out.
Maybe it won't.
Looks like it's not.
Are you trying to play a clip, Sean?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Modern woman. They want the aesthetic of what a man is, but they actually don't want a man because they don't want to. Modern women, they want the aesthetics of
Modern
what a man
women.
is, but they actually don't want a man because they don't want to be submissive. And I know that's a word thrown out there. Women get scared of that.
Explain what you mean by submissive for those unaware.
Submissive as in respect, being the peace, the calm, always, right? So if a lion is roaring, you have to learn how to quiet, So it's just like women don't want to be submissive. Women don't want to be corrected. We're the only nation of women that say they don't need a man, and you have all these other nations. Those women aren't saying that because they know the greatness and the importance of a man being around, not just financially, but for beyond that. It's beyond finances. It's for the structure. It's for the balance.
What are your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts?
I agree with her.
Who's that, Randy?
Yeah, I agree. The biggest problem we have now is so many women don't understand. They think submit mean I tell you what to do and you got to do what I say, and they don't realize because we move in logic. Most of the time when we're telling you something, it's either to keep you from getting hurt, keep something seriously happening to you, be it, hey, you shouldn't wear that out because I know that's the kind of outfit that's going to draw this kind of guy, that kind of guy, or that can get you raped or this or that. Not saying that that's what we're trying to throw at you, but we know the reality of the world. And instead of taking it as I'm trying to do something to help you, you take it as you're trying to tell me what to do. And they don't understand it because of us coming from a place of logic. We're seriously trying to take care of you. And they don't understand that's
also about trusting your leadership too.
Yeah, it's trust.
When I hear women talk about men leading, they're quick to pull this, that if a man can lead, oftentimes what they don't really own is the fact that you're talking about him leading in a way that pleases you. You're not talking about him leading in a way that you're going to have to take some L's because you've given him, leadership power and he can shut down this or shut down that. So to me, a lot of times when you hear these conversations about as long as he can lead, it's got to look like the way you need it to look, which means in essence, you're leading. He's not leading. Right. Robert, go ahead. You had something cocked. So
well,
in one of the musket guns.
We keep playing this narrative about submission. And we keep talking about the submission in a negative way. But don't you think, or do you think that submission can be on both parties?
Absolutely. You'll never hear me talk about submission in a negative way. I can't wait to be in a relationship where my mate has different strengths than I do. And I can say, babe, you do this way better than me. So you can certainly pour into me and teach me how to do this as well as you do it. But right now, you clearly do this better than I do. And I'm 100% fine with you taking the reins on this, because we're going to be better with you doing it than with me doing it.
Oh, absolutely. So I think that, to that point, we need to, and so here's the other question about leadership. I think that it could be two leaders.
Absolutely.
And so
should be.
When we talk about leadership, you kind of, I have to agree with you in terms of what you said. I know it's hard, but in terms of that, if she's leading in areas that she's strong in, I'm okay with that. That's what the whole coming together from a relationship perspective or relational perspective is all about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think we're trying to find one throat to choke because we want one person to be responsible. But when we're in a relationship, it's actually two people.
Mm-hmm.
There's not just one person that's responsible. Yes, we talk about we want her to be her peace and all that sort of stuff, man. But I don't even think that we've defined what peace looks like, and if we bring peace.
I can define it.
But
so,
you can define it, and please, brother, please do that. But we have to be a peaceful person as well. And I think that we get hung up in semantics as well as what social media is telling us about peace.
So check this out. We got about 4 minutes left. I want to hear from Mel because he got that look on his face that he got a gem to drop. He says,
well, he's still thinking about my 8th grade, breakup.
You got a joke.
Hey, let me say this before.
The Good Wife's Guide. Oh,
let me say this before I hear from
and we just lost our ratings. Thank you, Roger.
Right. Before I hear from Randy, we talked about the leadership piece, Robert, and there being two leaders. I think that's me personally. This is just my opinion. This is the biggest place where we miss each other, because and I'm not calling sisters out on this, but I'm saying that I feel like it may be a little bit disproportionate when it comes to women, but you can disqualify somebody because they're strong or weak in a different area than you. And in actuality, I believe it is divine, that the divine puts you in position with those people that you can pour into, where you're strong in the areas that they're weak in. You're divinely positioned to give them what you don't have, and they're divinely positioned to give you what you don't have that they have. And I think the human frailty in us judges those people instead and goes, oh, well, I'm a good money manager and he's not a good money manager, so he's not a good fit. But he's perfect for you in every other place. Well, why don't you give him what you got? As long as he's teachable, show him what you have. Teach him how to do what you do.
But I think first you have to submit to the idea that nobody is perfect, including yourself.
Including yourself.
That's a journey right there for a lot of people.
Speak for yourself.
You have to start with that submission.
Speak for yourself on that. Nobody's perfect. I don't know what you're talking about.
Who thought it was a good idea to bring Mel back? That's what I want.
What people don't realize is peace takes work.
Yeah, we got about 2 minutes.
Peace is never just an easy thing to step in. And when you talk about peace in a relationship, it's coming together, realizing each other's strength, and being willing to understand and help where this person is weak and that person is strong. Like me, for an example, I can't do business and art at the same time. I got to do one or the other. So for me, peace would be a woman who can come in and take that business part while I'm working hard on the art part and helping me still grow at the same time while I'm trying to help her grow at the same time. At the end of the day, it's coming together to see each other become better people and grow. And people forget to help each other grow. It's always one or the other, but peace is finding a way to help each other grow, not just yourself.
Boy, you said that, Mr. Controversy.
You broke it down.
Yeah.
He's so good at growing. His nickname is Fertilizer.
I've been single for so long, I ain't got nothing to think about shit.
Glenn, you mean manure. Okay. Anyway,
that's a good one.
Thank you, Shayla. Hey man, I
Barbara
love
sent
y'all,
me to
man.
do that for you.
Y'all can irk my nerves sometimes, but I love y'all nonetheless. And I
Do
don't
you
even
like
care
us
if
though?
you
Do
love
you
me
like
back.
us? Yes or no? Check the
I
box.
probably love
Yeah.
y'all more than
Check
I
the
like
box.
y'all, to be honest with you. I think.
Well, if you say I don't know, then the answer is no.
Right. No, that's the answer.
Yeah. Eighth
I
grade.
think it's
Eighth
easier.
grade
I
wisdom.
think it's easier to love somebody than to like somebody. Because I can love you no matter what you do, but liking you is a little.
Well, you know my thing. I want you to like me first. Then we'll move to the love.
Well, man,
You know my stuff.
We're gonna what's his name? Man, we gonna talk to John Wilkes Booth about what he did to you.
Moses said he liked you, though. I mean, Moses, said he liked you.
Oh man, hey man, it's been great back with y'all. I don't know, everybody watching, I don't know when we're gonna do this again. I don't know where we are with that, but
Some more liquor for the next
but certainly glad that you all tuned in and hung out with us. Had been too long since we had done this in this format. Thank you guys for being great and awesome like you always are. And until the next time we do this, it's been Live from the Cave for sure.
Later, Moses.
Look, man, I think Indica's cheap.
Lonnie girl, I messed up.
Some nights she leaving at 8 o'clock. Other nights she leaving at 9 o'clock.
I don't know how this could have happened. Told him he was imagining stuff.
She told me she was going to run errands. She lied to me.
The real question you have to ask yourself is why.
What? It's a question.
Why are you asking me that? Why can't you just enjoy the food that I bought you?
But do he know
Does he know what?
that he was the side nigga?
He was not the side, nothing.
I'm not going there until you can make up your mind on who you want to be with. This conversation is done.
You are so childish. You're childish. You and your damn ego.
You and your damn ex. Now what? I never had nobody like her before. She's just a real one, bro. I don't want to lose her.
As your friend, as your true friend, you better go get your man back.